I want you to imagine the scenario that politically nothing much changes over the next few years because we don't need system change, right? We just need different people in power, that's all. We love the political party system. It's working perfectly for us. So nothing changes. It's great that the president of a party can be the president of the country. There's no conflict of interest. No, it's great just the way it is. We don't need system change. Let's just continue because everything's working great. Water's flowing, electricity's working, there's enough schools for everybody, housing, lovely. So let's just imagine that scenario, and there's two ways this can play out. One of the ways is that probably the path of least resistance way is that in a few years we get a new president because we're overdue, and there's no particular party that has the majority in parliament, so the power is somewhat shared more evenly than ever before, and yet the top 3, 4, or 5 parties are still funded pretty much by the same people. Promises are made as per usual. Laws are passed left, right, and center in a desperate effort to try gain control of a sinking ship. Global goals are adhered to more and more, or attempted to be adhered to more and more, such as digital ID and things like that. And life for you and I pretty much stays the same, or at least doesn't get better. Probably will get worse. More control, higher costs of living, etc. The other way this can play out, if things politically stay the same, is a little bit different. Perhaps the current parties in power, the ones making up the GNU, or at least the loudest ones in the GNU, perhaps they stagnate, or they lose a lot of support, or voters become very, very complacent or apathetic because of the situation. And so what happens? A new party is introduced. One could call it a super party. They will really look like the superheroes sweeping in to save the day from the terrible big bad monsters in parliament. And they'll look wonderful, and they'll appeal to a lot of people, and they'll probably have young leaders in them. And everyone will be so excited, and we might even experience the same bliss as we did in 1994. And yeah, people will really think this is it. We're being saved. Meanwhile, elections die down, things go back to normal, promises are made yet again, millions of laws are passed, and the same global goals are adhered to, complied with, and nothing much changes for you and I. In fact, things might get worse because nothing has changed inside the system. The power structures remain. And you know what really gets to me, what I don't understand, is why people think system change is such a radical concept when just accepting things as they are currently, that is probably the most insane thing any person can do. It's irrational and it's crazy to accept things as they are now. System change is not a radical idea. Maybe it's a new idea. Yes, perhaps people psychologically are a little bit scared of change, but it's certainly not a radical idea. It's the most sane idea that exists right now. Of course, how we change the system is very important. And this is where it gets a little bit scary, because if a psychopath is in charge of changing the system, or someone that's greedy, then obviously the system is going to be changed in such a way as to protect the current extremely hierarchical power structures, where there's lots of top heavy centralized power and then people are completely disempowered. And so we need to change the system in such a way as to honor human freedom more than anything, and to create healthy societies, which is a concept that politicians do not understand at all. Politicians understand control, control, control. They do not understand what constitutes a healthy society or a healthy community. And it's funny that it seems radical to want those things. It's funny that it seems radical to want a kind of government structure that will put people first instead of profit first. It's crazy that it's radical that we want healthy societies as opposed to societies built around mass consumerism and profiteering. It's crazy that that's radical. We've really lost sight of the meaning of life. But anyway, I digress. How should then the system be changed? I mean, first we have to agree that yes, we do want a government system and a political system that does serve people, serves people's interests and helps people flourish. And usually that will happen by government itself getting out of the way. So if we can agree with that we want government that serves people, not machinery, not power structures, then we can proceed. So how should we change the current government system? Let me know in the comments if you have any ideas, please. I would love to hear more ideas that people have out there. How should we change the system? Keeping in mind, I believe we're always going to need government. We're never going to get away with not having government simply because of human nature. And yeah, because of that, we need to make sure government is as limited and as small as possible, but as effective as possible. So what are some of the changes I want to see personally? I mean, it'd be nice if we can start with limited national government, limited in what it can do for the people, but at the same time have a very strong military. We haven't really worked on that in a long time, our country, which is a little bit disturbing. Perhaps we feel like we have too many alliances and we don't want to rock the boat, but unfortunately the boat has been rocked for a long time. So a stronger military to guarantee national sovereignty so that individuals can be sovereign inside the country. That is of paramount importance, and that's something that's been neglected for a very, very long time. So that's the number one change I'd like to see. Structurally, systematically, some of the other changes is, well, getting rid of provincial government. Provincial government is one of the biggest drains and wastes of taxpayers' money. It costs 704 billion with a B, billion rand every year, 64% of which goes to salaries. Yay, that's our tax money. Going to provincial government, do you even know where your provincial government office is? Do you even know who your premier is? Are they actually delivering any services that are worth anything? Are they actually doing their job in a way that is meaningful and effective at the same time? I think the answer is pretty much no, because we have a better design than provincial government. So provincial government, we have 3 spheres of government in an attempt for our overall government to say that we have a decentralized government, therefore we're not a dictatorship. However, most of the power still lies at national level, and then at provincial level, it's still too far from the individual to really matter. So it might as well be at national government. There isn't enough accountability there between citizen and provincial government. So what are we proposing? What is OM proposing? OM is proposing pretty much this. You just need to know how many, the municipality structure in South Africa. At local government level, there are 3 types of municipalities. You've got your metros, there's 8 of them. They're your largest municipalities, areas like Joburg, Cape Town, Tshwane, Durban, etc. Then you have your local municipalities, which are your small ones. And then in the middle, there are district municipalities. District municipalities have a number of local municipalities in them. So what we want to do is take that existing structure, take those district municipalities, rebrand them. We would call them probably something along the lines of local government regions, and everything that province does now will go to these district municipalities, and a lot of what national does will also go to these local government regions. And this is important. Why? So it'll be the districts, there's 44, which will now become the local government regions, plus the 8 metros, making 52 local government regions across the country, administering what province used to and a lot of what we're going to take away from national government. And why is this important? We are bringing government literally closer to the people. We're bringing government into people's neighborhoods almost, broadly speaking. And this is important because I feel like when government is physically closer to the people, then people can literally go to government's doorstep and protest. Now, this is an important one. The government should not be afraid of people protesting because they should simply be doing their job. They shouldn't be making residents that unhappy. That accountability has to exist, that physical presence. And yeah, by bringing government closer to people, citizens are now able to take action when they're unhappy. It can be protest action or any other kind of action. It doesn't really matter. So with these local government regions taking over a lot of what province is doing, which is schools, public spaces, libraries, community centers, a lot of the social cohesion stuff. I think it's going to look a lot better. You're still going to have your local wards and local council, municipalities and all the rest, but now to local government regions, replacing provinces, there's just overall better accessibility. Government becomes more approachable in a sense. And I want you to look at it this way, the divide and conquer principle. So a lot of people will say the media uses divide and conquer to keep us from uniting, or the government or people in power use divide and conquer to keep us from uniting and overthrowing the system or whatever. It's kind of the same principle that we the people are applying the divide and conquer principle to government. So instead of the power of government being super concentrated at a national level, we want to divide that power to be as close to where you live as possibly possible. And that is quite an exciting thing, because then human beings become more empowered and government becomes more limited. And that's exactly what we want in order to remain free and to put individual liberty first. So there are many other changes that we want to make. I'll discuss them later, but in the comments, please put what you would like to hear about more. I could go into a lot more detail on all these points I mentioned, and there's so much more to talk about with regards to the changes to the government structure, changes to the voting system, and changes to the political system, because those are all different things. And then there's so much to talk about on how to implement these changes, because there's a specific mechanism through which one can implement these changes. So that's a conversation altogether. So let me know in the comments what you would like to hear about the most.